NENOMATICA, where mathematics meets YouTube excellence. In this lesson, we will solve floor function equations using the definition. We will follow a precise 3-step algorithm and apply it to an example. We will now walk through a complete example step by step. Solve the equation, floor of 2x minus 1 equals 4. We begin with the definition. If the floor of f of x equals n, then n is less than or equal to f of x, and f of x is less than n plus 1. Step 1. Identify the integer n. Here, the right side is 4, which is an integer, so n equals 4. Step 2. Apply the definition. Replace the floor with a double inequality using n equals 4. That gives 4 less than or equal to 2x minus 1, and 2x minus 1 is less than 5. Step 3. Solve the double inequality for x. First, add 1 to all 3 parts. Then, divide everything by 2 to isolate x. Let us visualize the solution on a number line. A closed point at 2.5 and an open point at 3, with the interval shaded in between. Therefore, the solution set is all x in the interval from 2.5, inclusive, up to 3, exclusive. In this lesson, we will solve a floor function equation step by step, following a clear interval method. The equation is floor of x minus 1 equals floor of open parenthesis x plus 2 close parenthesis over 2. Our goal is to find all x that satisfy the equation. Step 1. Let both floor expressions be equal to the same integer, n. That means floor of x minus 1 equals n, and floor of open parenthesis x plus 2 close parenthesis over 2 equals n. Step 2. Use the floor definition. Floor of u equals, n means n is less than or equal to u, and u is less than n plus 1. Applying that to x minus 1, we get n less than or equal to x minus 1, which is less than n plus 1. Adding 1 to all parts, we find interval I, n plus 1 less than or equal to x, which is less than n plus 2. Step 3. Now do the same for the second floor. Floor of open parenthesis x plus 2 close parenthesis over 2 equals, n means n is less than or equal to the fraction, and the fraction is less than n plus 1. Multiply the inequality by 2, then subtract 2, to get interval 2. 2 times n minus 2 is less than or equal to x, which is less than 2n. We can write that as 2 times open parenthesis north minus 1 close parenthesis less than or equal to x, which is less than 2n. Step 4. For solutions to exist, intervals 1 and 2 must intersect. If interval 2 lies entirely to the right of interval 1, then 2 times n minus 2 is greater than or equal to n plus 2, which simplifies to n greater than or equal to 4. If interval 2 lies entirely to the left of interval 1, then 2n is less than or equal to n plus 1, which simplifies to n less than or equal to 1. Therefore, the only integers that allow an overlap are n equals 2 or n equals 3. Step 5. Test n equals 2. Interval 1 becomes 3 less than or equal to x, which is less than 4. Interval 2 becomes 2 less than or equal to x, which is less than 4. Their intersection is 3 less than or equal to x, which is less than 4. Let's see that on a number line. Now test n equals 3. Interval 1 becomes 4 less than or equal to x, which is less than 5. Interval 2 becomes 4 less than or equal to x, which is less than 6. Their intersection is 4 less than or equal to x, which is less than 5. Step 6. Combine the two intersections. From n equals 2, we have 3 to 4, and from n equals 3, we have 4 to 5. Their union is 3 to 5, including 3 but excluding 5. Therefore, the solution set is the interval 3 to 5. In this lesson, we will solve a floor function equation by turning each side into an interval for x, and then finding where those intervals overlap. Our problem is the floor of x minus 3 over 2 equals the floor of x minus 2 over 3. Step 1. Let both floors be equal to the same integer, n, by the definition of the floor function. If the floor of equals n, then n is less than or equal to a, and is less than n plus 1. Apply that to each side. For the left side, we get an x interval labeled I. Then do the same for the right side, giving an x interval labeled 2. Step 2. The equation only has solutions where the 2x intervals overlap. If interval 2 lies completely to the right of interval I, there is no overlap. That condition is 3n plus 2 greater than or equal to 2n plus 5, which gives n greater than or equal to 3. If interval 2 lies completely to the left of interval I, there is no overlap. That condition is 3n plus 5 less than or equal to 2n plus 3, which gives n less than or equal to negative 2. Therefore, valid n values are the integers strictly between negative 2 and 3. N equals negative 1, 0, 1, or 2. Step 3. For each allowed n, we intersect the two intervals to get x. Watch the number line. Blue shows interval I from the left side. Orange shows interval 2 from the right side. And the green segment is their overlap, which is the solution for that n. First, n equals negative 1. Next, n equals 0. Then, n equals 1. Finally, n equals 2. Now collect all four solution pieces and take their union. From n equals negative 1, we get the interval 1 to 2. From n equals 0, we get 3 to 5. From n equals 1, we get 5 to 7. From n equals 2, we get 8 to 9. Notice that the intervals 3 to 5 and 5 to 7 touch, so together they form the single interval 3 to 7. Therefore, the final solution set is the union of three intervals, 1 to 2, 3 to 7, and 8 to 9. In this lesson, we will count all integer solutions x that satisfy the equation. The floor of x over a equals the floor of x over a plus k, with a and k integers, and x at least 1. We will follow a clean 4-step plan. Set both floors equal to an integer m, find the x interval bound m, and sum counts across all m. Step 1. Define the common integer part. Let both floors equal m. By the definition of the floor function, m is less than or equal to x over a plus k, which is less than x over a, and that is less than m plus 1. Step 2. Solve the inequalities for x. From m less than or equal to x over a plus k, we get x greater than or equal to m times a plus k. And from x over a less than m plus 1, we get x is less than a times m plus 1. Combining both gives the interval I. A m plus mk is less than or equal to x, which is less than a m plus a. Let's visualize this interval on a number line and connect it to the count of integer x. Step 3. Find the allowed values of m so that the interval is not empty. We need the left bound strictly less than the right bound. Mk is less than a, so m is less than over k. Therefore, m can be 0, 1, 2, up to n equals the floor of or over k. We may include the top index, n, because if mk equals a, that last width becomes 0 and contributes nothing. Step 4. Count integer x in each interval and sum over all m. For a fixed m, the number of integers in the half-open interval is a minus mk. Summing from m equals 0 to n gives s equals the sum of a minus mk. That simplifies to a times n plus 1 minus k times n plus 1 over 2. Factor to the compact form. S equals n plus 1 times a minus k n over 2, with n equal to the floor of or over k. Quick intuition. Each m gives a green segment from am plus mk up to am plus a. Its integer length is a minus mk. Summing all such lengths across allowed m finishes the count. Final result. The total number of integer solutions equals n plus 1 times a minus k n over 2, where n is the floor of a divided by k. In this lesson, we will solve a floor function equation step by step. The equation is the floor of negative x squared plus 3x equals the floor of x squared plus 1/2. Our goal is to find all real x that satisfy this. Step 1. Notice that x squared plus 1/2 is always positive, so its floor is at least 0. Because both floors are equal, the floor of negative x squared plus 3x must also be at least 0. That forces negative x squared plus 3x to be greater than or equal to 0, which gives x between 0 and 3, inclusive. Step 2. To make the two floors equal, they must both equal some integer, n. We will bound possible n values using the left expression. Complete the square. Negative x squared plus 3x equals 2.25 minus the square of x minus 1.5. So its maximum value is 2.25. Therefore, the floor of the left side can only be 0, 1, or 2. Step 3. By definition of the floor function. Floor of a equals n if and only if n is less than or equal to a, and a is strictly less than n plus 1, we will create a system for each n equal to 0, 1, and 2, and less than or equal to negative x squared plus 3x less than n plus 1, and simultaneously n less than or equal to x squared plus 1/2 less than n plus 1. Case 1. Let n equal 0. From x squared plus 1/2 in the interval 0 to 1, we get x squared less than 1/2. So x is between 0 and the square root of 1/2, using our earlier restriction. From the left inequality, negative x squared plus 3x must be at least 0, and strictly less than 1. The second part simplifies to x squared minus 3x plus 1 greater than 0, which is true when x is less than 3 minus square root 5 over 2, or when x is greater than 2.618, but we also need x between 0 and 3. Combining with x less than square root of 1/2 picks the interval from 0 to 3 minus square root 5 over 2. Open at the right. Case 2. Let n equal 1. From x squared plus 1/2 between 1 and 2, we have x squared between 1/2 and 1.5. So x is in the interval from square root of 1/2 up to, but not including square root of 1.5. For the left part, 1 is less than or equal to negative x squared plus 3x, and that is less than 2. The lower bound gives x between 3 minus square root 5 over 2 and 3 plus square root 5 over 2. The upper bound gives x less than 1 or x greater than 2. Intersecting with our x range from the right part yields x from square root of 1/2 up to 1, open at 1. Case 3. Let n equal 2. From x squared plus 1/2 between 2 and 3, we obtain x squared between 1.5 and 2.5. So x is from the square root of 1.5 up to, but not including the square root of 2.5. For the left inequality, 2 is less than or equal to negative x squared plus 3x, and that is less than 3. The first part gives x between 1 and 2. The second part is automatically true for all x because x squared minus 3x plus 3 is always positive. Intersecting with the right part leaves x from the square root of 1.5 up to the square root of 2.5, open at the right end. Finally, the complete solution is the union of these three intervals, from 0 to 3 minus square root 5 over 2, union from square root of 1/2 to 1, union from square root of 1.5 to square root of 2.5. In this lesson, we will solve the equation. The square root of the floor of negative 7x squared plus 3x plus 4 equals the floor of 2 minus sine of x. We will carefully use domain analysis, floor function properties, and case splitting to find the complete solution set. Step 1. Domain and left side analysis. For the square root to be defined, the floor of the quadratic must be at least 0. Since the quantity inside the floor is the quadratic negative 7x squared plus 3x plus 4, we first require negative 7x squared plus 3x plus 4 to be greater than or equal to 0. The roots of negative 7x squared plus 3x plus 4 equals 0 are at x equals 1 and x equals negative 4 over 7. Therefore, the parabola is non-negative between these two roots, from negative 4 over 7 up to 1. Also, because the right side is an integer, the left side, which is a square root of an integer, must itself be an integer. That forces the floor of the quadratic to be a perfect square. 0, 1, 4, and so on. But the maximum value of the quadratic on this interval is about 4.24, so the only possible perfect squares are 0, 1, and 4, leading to left side candidates 0, 1, or 2. Step 2, right side analysis. Since sine of x is between negative 1 and 1, 2 minus sine x ranges between 1 and 3. Therefore, the floor of 2 minus sine x is 1, 2, or 3. Combining with the left side, which can be 0, 1, or 2, the only possible equalities are 1 equals 1 and 2 equals 2. The value 0 cannot equal the right side, and the value 3 cannot match the left side. At x equals 0, the left side becomes the square root of the floor of 4, which is 2, and the right side is the floor of 2 minus 0, which is also 2. So x equals 0 will be a solution we keep in mind. Step 3. Case 1. Both sides equal 1. That means the floor of the quadratic equals 1, and the floor of 2 minus sine x equals 1. For the left inequality, floor equals 1 implies 1 less or equal to the quadratic less than 2. For the right inequality, the The floor equals 1 implies 1 less or equal to 2 minus sine x less than 2, which simplifies to sine x strictly greater than 0, and less than or equal to 1. Now we translate the left side into two quadratic inequalities, negative 7x squared plus 3x plus 3 greater than or equal to 0, and negative 7x squared plus 3x plus 2 less than 0. The first inequality holds between its roots, and the second holds outside its roots. Their combination yields two short x intervals inside our domain, from approximately negative 0.47 to negative 0.36, and from about 0.79 to 0.90. Applying sine x strictly positive eliminates the negative interval, so the valid x range for case 1 is from 3 plus square root 65 over 14 to 3 plus square root 93 over 14, open on the left and closed on the right. Step 4. Case 2, both sides equal 2. That means the floor of the quadratic equals 4, and the floor of 2 minus sine x equals 2. The left floor equality implies 4 less or equal to the quadratic, and the quadratic is less than 5. Since the maximum value of the quadratic is below 5, we only need 4 less or equal to negative 7x squared plus 3x plus 4. This reduces to negative 7x squared plus 3x greater than or equal to 0, which gives x between 0 and 3/7 inclusive. For the right side, the floor equals 2 implies 2 less or equal to 2 minus sine x less than 3, which is equivalent to sine x less or equal to 0 and greater than negative 1. On the interval from 0 to 3/7, sine x is positive except at x equals 0. Therefore, the only common solution in this case is x equals 0. Final answer. Let's place the problem on screen. Then we recall the definition of the floor function and set up the substitution. We substitute x equals n plus p with n an integer and p between 0 and 1. Using the property left bracket, n plus a right bracket equals n plus left bracket a right bracket, we get the structure of the equation in terms of n and p. Let's write this out, and now apply the property carefully. Now we split into two cases, depending on p. We'll visualize p on a number line from 0 to 1 with a tick in the middle at 1/2. Case 1, p from 0 up to 1/2, which makes the floor of p plus 1/2 equal to 0. Case 2, p from 1/2 up to 1, which makes the floor of p plus 1/2 equal to 1. First highlight the left interval for case 1. Then highlight the right interval for case 2. Case 1, p between 0 and 1/2. Then the floor of p is 0, and the floor of p plus 1/2 is 0. The equation becomes n squared minus 6, n minus 6 equals 0. Solving gives n equals 3 plus or minus the square root of 15, which is not an integer. Therefore, there are no solutions from case 1. Case 2, p between 1/2 and 1. Then the floor of p plus 1/2 equals 1. The equation becomes open parenthesis north plus 1 close parenthesis squared minus 6 n minus 6 equals 0. This simplifies to n squared minus 4, n minus 5 equals 0, which factors as n minus 5 times n plus 1 equals 0. So n equals negative 1 or n equals 5, both integers. Now translate case 2 back to x. Since x equals n plus p, and p is between 1/2 and 1, we have n plus 1/2 is less than or equal to x, which is less than n plus 1. We will visualize these intervals on a number line for x, and then plug in n equals negative 1 and n equals 5. That gives x in the interval negative 1/2 to 0 for n equals negative 1, and x in the interval 11/2 to 6 for n equals 5. Combining both intervals from case 2 gives the complete solution set. We have the union of the intervals from negative 1/2 to 0, and from 11/2 to 6. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more math lessons. NENOMATICA, where mathematics meets YouTube excellence.